Hello, everyone. Mercury has luckily left the Neptune Pallas Athena opposition, and now it is around 25, 23 degrees Virgo, creating two planetary pictures. One is quite well known in karmic astrology. It is a finger of fate, this one involving Aries in Aries, retrograde, and Jupiter in Aquarius, also retrograde. And the other one is what we call in transcendental karmic astrology an engine, which is actually kind of dissolving the Pluto Aries square, which is this year's main karmic astrological feature. Let's talk about this for a while, for a little bit. So let's look around, look behind, maybe that's a better verb. Let's look behind these two configurations, which are actually joined by Mercury itself, which will leave the configurations in a day or two. So that's by the way, that's tomorrow's placement. So it's on the 27th of August. And let's take a look first at the finger of fate. I believe that it was Judy Hall who coined the term finger of fate. I might be wrong, but it's really also called Yod. And it is made by two quincunxes and a sextile. Where the two quincunxes join, that's the place we call apex. That is where the most of the energy is directed towards. So that's the triggering point, let's put it this way. And where they join in the sextile, those are the redeeming factors. Quincunxes are interesting by themselves because in traditional astrology, they are not used. According to traditional astrology, this is an aspect that doesn't even exist for several reasons. I'm not going to go into this, but you can find the rationalization why this is not a true aspect in many of the early astrology books. And I'm talking about regular traditional and not karmic astrology, of course. But at the same time, it does exist, of course, and it is one of the main aspects in karmic astrology. And it's a very disruptive type of aspect simply because sometimes it behaves like a trine and sometimes it behaves like a square or an opposition. And you can't even tell when. This is especially disruptive in synastry, where when you have this between, personal planets, I'm talking about interaspects. So let's say your sun is quincunxing your partner's Venus, then sometimes you love him and sometimes you hate him, and the change can be done in like 5 minutes. So it's very disruptive. And the reason why is because unlike the squares, which give you daily challenges, those are very high impact aspects, especially when you remember my video on fixed squares. This is what Judy Hall said about fixed squares, that they are very, very deeply ingrained karmic issues that you haven't even tried to deal with. Unlike those, quincunxes are stuff that you have done. You know how they work. You know how they manifest. And then all of a sudden you come back in another incarnation and they don't work properly. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So actually quincunxes want you to push further. They want you to look into the matter deeper. They want you to deal with the stuff from a different angle. And that's why they are not very comfortable, to say the least. If you have too many of them and you don't deal with them properly, they make you sick. So those are the number one disease factors in a chart. When you see a lot of finger of fates, or you'll see a lot of quincunxes, you have to be careful with them because they turn into illnesses quite easily throughout your lifetime. So let's look at this particular yod, or finger of fate, at the apex of which is Mercury. So there's Mercury Aries bidirectional quincunx, suggesting that drastically altered outward circumstances need to be understood. And then there is the other quincunx involving Jupiter and Mercury, which, you know, Jupiter always enlarges and blows up everything it touches. So actually it does blow up the mess that is going on in the world, but it also can blow up understanding. And it can also enlarge your need to understand what's going on. So that's the finger of fate. The other aspect is an engine. I don't think that anyone has ever actually dealt with this particular planetary picture, because even the karmic astrologers don't really realize how important it is. It is made up by a square, a quincunx, and a trine. And it really combines the high impact energy of the square, the blessings of the trine, and the karmic intensity of the quincunx. So it gives you a drive, and it also gives you the power to bear a lot, to carry a lot. That's what engines do. I mean, I remember once when I was in the United States, and there was a railway crossing, and we spent about 25 minutes because there was a huge engine with about 1,000 coaches, and it was just, they would just leave, passing by, and I stopped counting after a while because there were so many. It was amazing how many and how huge burdens this or heavy weights this one single engine could carry. So in karmic astrology, configurations like engines do the same. This particular one really dissolves the Aries-Pluto square. And in this case, you have the Pluto-Mercury trine. And you can translate this aspect in many ways. Usually when you have Mercury and Pluto involved, it could mean some sort of manipulation. It could also mean that your words carry power, powerful words. At the same time, because Pluto is the lord of the underworld, it could mean that the meaning of something needs to be uncovered. There's some kind of hidden issue there, and you need to bring it to the surface. With the help of the trine, this is precisely what you may do. And at the same time, the carrying side of this engine is, of course, the Aries-Pluto square, which brings a lot of changes, a lot of transformation, and a lot of disruption this year. And even, I would say, even early next year, although Pluto is coming out of the square quite easy. The exact square we will have, I believe, in October, early October, maybe the 8th or 9th of October. That is when it's going to be exact to the minute. But it's already quite tight at the moment. So let's look at engines in particular. As I said, they are made up by a trine, a square, and a quincunx. And because trines can be defined by elements and squares can be defined by the modalities, it means that you have actually 12 types of engines. Because the square will give you whether it's cardinal, fixed, or mutable, while the trine will give you the element. So if you look at this particular one, it is a Cardinal Earth Engine, quite powerful, because I think one of the most powerful ones, because Cardinal is a go-getter and Earth is reality, the true reality, down-to-earth reality. And if you link the two, you will get a sign. What is Cardinal Earth? Capricorn. So this particular trine, this particular engine that we are looking at today, actually behaves like a Capricorn. That's the hidden energy pattern behind the the engines, which makes it like a plus information. It gives you a plus information always. Most of the configurations you need to delineate according to their participating celestial objects. So you look at it, you decide what it is, and then you look at the participating objects, and you can usually define how that particular one works. With the engine, you have the added attraction to add actually a signature to it, so to speak. And this one has a Capricorn signature. You will always find one of the participating celestial objects there in that particular sign. And then you can surmise or presume that that particular one is the most important, most relevant, most powerful archetype in the configuration. In that case, it's Pluto, because Pluto is at the moment in Capricorn. So Pluto, which means transformation, that is the key impact of that engine today or tomorrow. It's actually going to be exact tomorrow on the 27th. Bye.